So fortunately, this pasuk is very simple to read and translate. So in fact, there's nothing new added by Metzius, no Metzius Tzion or Sadi Gaon, and the Targum is exactly the same. So we should get at least some covered today, some ground covered today. We have 50 minutes. Yeah, that's fine. Okay. Hon Yosef Re'im Rabim Vidalme Re'ehu Yipared. Wealth will add friends, many friends. Let me just type this out. Wealth will add many friends. Vidal me Re'ehu Yipared. How do you translate that?
And from the lowly one, the impoverished.
Yeah, impoverished is good.
Friends will depart from the impoverished.
Yeah, so that's the part I'm not sure about, right? Dal me re'ehu yipared. So I think it's the poor person will be separated from his friend. Yeah. And a poor person will be separated from his friend. Okay, so let's see. I did type the English. I don't know what it says though. Wealth adds many friends, but the poor man is parted from his fellow. That's Art Scroll. Living Knox says wealth adds many new friends. Okay, I mean, you don't have to put that in the translation. But a pauper parts from his companion. And Alter says wealth will give one many friends, but the poor man is parted from his friend. All right, so it's basically the same. Yeah, okay, so oopsies, I deleted the translation. Okay, so what are the questions here? This does not seem like it's connected to the yesterday's pasuk.
No.
Unless you're going to pull a Rashi and say that the friend is HaKadosh Baruch Hu. I don't know if that's what Rashi actually says here, but Rashi has been known to say such things. Yeah. In fact, that's the pshat in the Gemara, right? Of hateful kamocha. Maybe it's Hillel's statement of what is hateful to your friend, then don't. What is hateful to you, don't do to your friend. It's on one of those, and then it's a machlokus whether it's your friend, and then like Jose Klal Gadol B'Torah. Maybe it's the hateful kamocha. I actually don't remember. One of them says, because I think we think of the hateful kamocha, Jose Klal Gadol B'Torah, meaning that interpersonal stuff is like the major thing, and then the other shot of it, which Rashi mentions, I think, is that the Re'acha is a Kadosh Baruch Hu, and that really like makes you then wonder, okay, so then why is he expressing it in terms of the hateful kamocha, which is like plain shot about people, but that's for later. Yeah. Anyway, we'll see if anyone says that. Yeah. What are the questions here?
How does money pay?
Yeah. How does? Oh, and you know what? I actually should translate this. I've translated as wealth will add many friends. Hon is like extreme wealth. Yeah. So extreme wealth, because I think that's the connotation, like abundant wealth. Okay. How does extreme wealth add many friends? And by the way, even though we didn't read the Metzudos, the Targum does translate as Mishlei, which I think we said before, that mazel means fortune, which same thing in English. Fortune either means luck or it means wealth, so just interesting word there. All right, how does extreme wealth add friends? Add many friends, yeah, okay.
What kind of friends?
Yeah. What kind of friends, right? I mean, is it friends or is it friends? Like, you got to be suspicious here. It's also interesting, by the way, given the fact that we've seen a pattern in Mishlei stylistically, not just Mishlei, but especially Mishlei, that it'll use synonyms and try to avoid using the same terms, in the same pasuk. It is interesting that both halves of the pasuk use the word re'ah. So like the same type of plain shot is the same type of friends that the wealth will add. Those are the types of friends that the poor person will be separated from.
Oh, it seems like in the first half, Re'im is plural.
Yeah. Oh, that's also weird. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Re'ehu. That is weird, right? Yeah. Hold on just a second. So I'm just going to add the other thing that I just said into this question, which is what kind of friends are the friends in the first half the same type as the friend in the second half, as the words would imply? Okay, and then the third question is, why is friend? I feel like the real question is on the second half, right? Why is friend singular in the second half,
Mhm.
because it'd be weird to say wealth will add a friend, you know, and you know, yeah. So like, yeah. See, and this implies differently, meaning that like Re Ehu singular seems to imply a specific friend or specific type of friend, as opposed to just like all your friends flee, you know. Okay, so I guess we also have to ask, why will his friend separate from him?
Or is he separate?
Or yeah, right. Well, why will, yeah. So let's ask that first, right? Okay, is because the pasuk says he will separate from his friend,
Right.
but I feel like it.
Assume the opposite.
Yeah, right. Okay, good. So who in the second half? Sorry, in the second half. Let's see. In the second half, who is separating from whom? And then why? Yeah. And I also feel like this is a question where this is a puzzle where we need to ask, what is the practical advice? Because this is one that is just seemingly describing a phenomenon. So what is telling you just get money to get friends, or like don't get poor or else you lose your friends, you know? What's the practical advice here? Yeah, all right, I think those are basic questions, right? Okay, so what do we say? I mean, definitely seems like these are not deep friendships, right? From the fact that they could just be added and discarded so quickly. Did you listen to the first part of the Ram already?
Yeah,
right. So you're thinking about that now?
Yeah.
Yeah, right. So the yeah, Knei L'Chachaver. So just to recap it, right, is that the Ram said that there are three categories of friendship. Really, Aristotle said this, but Ram quoted it. A friend of utility, a friend of enjoyment, a friend of pleasure. I mean, wait, did we say? I forgot which one we associated. I think a friend of whatever, hana'a, and a friend for a higher purpose. And then friend of hana is divided into two categories: a chaver ta'anug, a friend of enjoyment, and then a friend of bitachon, who you can trust and like confide in. So this does not sound like a friend for a higher purpose. Does not sound like a friend for enjoyment, in the sense that it's not like you're enjoying their personality, because if that were the case, then wealth shouldn't change anything, you know, either increasing or decreasing. So what is it? Friend of utility? Like, or, you know, they're not necessarily giving you money, or is it a type of friendship of enjoyment, you know, like, and the Rambam's categories did seem pretty exhaustive, you know, that those are the only 3/4.
Well, it could be enjoyment, like like when someone's rich, like they'll go on like a lot of trips, and like if you're with them, like you'll have a lot of fun with them.
Right. So that almost sounds like utility, though, right? Because
Oh.
you're getting free vacations out of it, you know.
Yes. Well, yeah.
I mean, and I guess that's a general question on Aristotle's classification, because ultimately you could classify enjoyment as a type of utility, or utility as a cause of enjoyment, you know?
I was going to ask what's the code between those.
Yeah, so that's why, I guess that's why my assumption is utility means that there's a tangible benefit you get from it, whereas enjoyment is you enjoy the gavra, like, you know, their personality, or the person themselves is like, and the nafkamina is like, here's how you tell whether it's a friendship with utility or not. If you got the utility through some other way, would it be the same? Or is the utility tied to the person themselves? Right. You know, so if you could go on free cruises, well, no one wants to go on cruises these days, but if you could go on, riding fancy cars and stuff like that. Like I remember when in 1992, when I merely had a Nintendo, then the kid down the block had a Super Nintendo. And I remember not liking the kid very much, but I liked his Super Nintendo, and befriended him on that basis. And if I had gotten a Super Nintendo, I wouldn't have gone over to the kid's house, you know? So like, that's a friend of utility, because it could be separated from the, from the person. But if I enjoyed playing Super Nintendo games with him,
right, then
that'd be a friendship of enjoyment, even though it's like tied to a particular thing, because there it's like the, you know, it's dependent on the person. Yeah, I think that's the color.
Right. Your personality doesn't change when you get money or lose money. Well, you could.
Yeah, right. I mean, that's interesting, right?
Yeah.
It seems like it does.
Right. You could be more of like a happy person.
Yeah. Didn't we have a Mishlei pasuk that was specifically about how your personality changes when you get
Yes,
money?
we did. Yes, in the last perek, it was. Let me look at it.
Oh, right.
Yeah. Oh, am I
You have to
sharing?
be meek
Hold on.
when you're poor.
I'm sharing the Word document, right, Isaac? Yeah, I am. Okay, good. No, was that the one? Or was it? Hold on. Yeah. No. Yeah, Takanunu Debra Rush, Asher Yane Azos. Yeah, that because I got mixed because we said our idea, which was how the mode you have to be in communication, but this is was saying that if you become rich, you become more brazen and arrogant and like brash, and if you're poor, you become submissive and like like allow yourself to be walked over and stuff like that. That's interesting. I mean, although it's funny because like that would suggest that you are that could repel friends, right?
Yeah.
For the rich person at least. Yeah.
But you could also be more, I guess, like talkative, more like friendly.
Yeah. I mean, I like the direction you said earlier about the poor person though, is like, there are certain like I don't want to call them personality props, but what I mean by that is like things that prop up your ability to be a good friend, companion, like personality. And let's say like you are plagued by debt or needing to beg on the street. You might not like that takes up a lot of energy and induces a lot of stress. And that might make you someone who people don't want to hang around, Another thing I should add, by the way, I don't think this is pshat, but I'm going to add it anyway, is I know that I don't know about Dal specifically, but like many times in Tanakh, words for poor people, poor is not necessarily monetarily poor. It could be anyone who is downtrodden or suffering, or like, for example, it could be someone who's very sick. It could be someone who is on the like an outcast in society. So like, I don't think that's relevant because hone, I assume, is actual wealth, but just want to throw that out there. I guess I was thinking about that because the fact that you are suffering from financial lack could lead you to have other sorts of qualities that bring you down as well, and that are not desirable in terms of like, relations with friends.
Right.
Yeah.
Right, because people don't want to deal with your problems.
Yeah, and I'm thinking maybe that's a route to the idea, because one of the, all right, maybe this, I'll just throw this idea out, just because I have to leave in a little while. Friendship the basis of friendship is identification, right? As you identify with the other person, which means you see elements of yourself in the other person, and you love yourself, so you love the other person, right? That's like the basis of all love, right? Except for love of Hashem. We'll have to get back to that this afternoon. So the thing is that like, if you are with someone, if you're friends with someone and then they suffer extreme poverty and now their life situation is not desirable and their personality is not desirable or their emotions are not desirable, that could break the identification, cause you to like, I no longer relate to this person, and the proof of this, not the proof of this, but like, I don't know if you've ever had an experience where you were really good friends with somebody, and then let's say like they move, or like you go to a different school, or like their life situation changes, and you suddenly find that you're just not friends with them anymore. And you wonder, well, what happened? Like, I thought I enjoyed hanging out with this person. So plain shot is that you just didn't realize how much of the friendship was held together by a certain identification of similar life circumstances. And like when the life circumstances or the interaction, like the frequency of the interaction changes, it just breaks the basis of identification. We don't go to the same school anymore, and then we just drift apart, and it's funny because it's not dependent on that. Like I last week I spoke to a friend who I had not spoken to in about 9 years. And it just, like, it's a cliche, but it felt like we just picked up right where we left off, So there, the friendship was not, and lots of stuff changed in our lives, but there, evidently, it didn't depend on the circumstances. That was not what our identification was based on, but sometimes it does. And similarly, and here's where I'd say for the enjoyment part, when a person becomes wealthy, it's not just that they're dishing out like free Rolexes. It's that you get pleasure from the vicarious living through the other person. You want to be rich, and you like being like in this luxurious thing. And when you bask in the shadow of their wealth, you get to feel like you're one of that class, even if they're not directly giving you like stuff. Same way, like I guess the extreme form of this is people who hang out with or rub shoulders with celebrities. They might not be getting any tangible benefits, but like I'm like in that class somehow because I'm like friends with this person, Yeah.
I think there are a lot of monetary benefits that you do get from being friends with a rich person.
Oh, definitely. Yeah. I'm just saying it's not limited to that.
Yeah.
It could be utility and enjoyment from the identification, And that's why I think the reason why I'm also not inclined for this is because I could see an extremely wealthy person dishing out benefits to his close friends, but I guess rob him. I'm wondering why rob him. Like, and now you could say that it is that he's going to be, like rob him or getting benefits from this, but I guess the question is how rob him is rob him, and it is much easier for a lot of people to just identify with like the rich person based on the fantasy and the association as opposed to like the tangible benefits. All right, I got to go now though. We'll have to continue this tomorrow.
Thank you.
You're welcome.